If nearly constant high-speed changes of direction are your thing, there are a few tracks out there for you. Or if significant elevation changes are more up your alley, there are a few of those tracks as well. But if you fancy negotiating those high-speed direction changes through some really, truly breathtaking elevation changes, there's really only one track for you, Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. To run at the front at Road Atlanta requires immense focus and concentration, combined with, as legend David Hobson would say, very large attachments. Now, it may well be the consummate driver's track, because sure, power helps, but it is the driver who can dance on the edge, lap after lap with relentless focus, that will make the ultimate difference. Tonight, the second season of 2025 for the Full Send Sims Esports iRacing Spec MX5 League continues at this magnificent venue. Hello all and welcome to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta in the North Georgia foothills. I'm Greg Creamer along with Kyle Heyer. And Kyle, when you race at Road Atlanta, you really need to live in the proverbial zone, don't you?
You do. It's a commitment meter. All the corners are a commitment meter. Turns 1 through turn 12. Every single corner on this racetrack provides you opportunity to make a big mistake. This is a place that'll tear up race cars, but if you get it just right, it is like taking a drug. Every single time you come down through turn 12, you settle into that compression and start all over again. About 2.5 miles worth of racing surface here, Greg, and every bit of it is exciting. This is one of the tracks I've had the opportunity to ride around at Grid Life behind the wheel, or I guess in the passenger seat of Luke McGrew, and boy, it was a ride in a Dodge Challenger. In an SMX car, not quite as much top speed, Greg, but you're carrying so much speed through the corners here, especially down through turn 12, and a lot of drafting on that long backstretch.
Yeah, and that's really what we're talking about with the commitment here, is you've got these long corners. You start with turn 1, which is to the right of your screen there, up through turn 2, very, very, very fast. Turn 3, you just murder the inside curb, then you fall through the S's, and they're deceptively quick, and it's huge to get a massive run out of turn 5 there at the bottom of the S's, because you can see that quick elevation run up into turn 6, and then, Kyle, you're into the most important turn on the track, maybe one of the more boring, but it's critical.
Yeah, minimum speed there as low as you're going to get around this racetrack at turn 7, but you better get on throttle quickly because that straightaway just feels like it goes on forever. The run from 7 to 10, it's going to take hours in an SMX, but you got to get it right because your best passing opportunity is into turns 10A and 10B there at the bottom of the hill. Up over the rise at 11, kind of a blind apex there, then down through 12. Big commitment there, and come back around to finish the lap. We'll see our winner decided between 10 and 12 in both races tonight.
Yeah, no question. And you're right. I mean, turn 12, it's one of those counterintuitive corners where as you come down out of 11, you're thinking to yourself, geez, lift. And then you realize, no, what I actually have to do is grab a gear and just mat it down through there. It is that kind of a corner sequence. Turn 1, you enter it with massive commitment and pure belief. As it falls away as you turn in, the back end starts to come around. You know you're going to get that grip, but you've got to have the faith that it'll be there. And then if you're going to be really good through the S's, a lot of drivers, Kyle, when they come out of 3, as they wind themselves through turn 4, they'll actually do a short shift so that they can just keep that throttle down all the way through the S's without having to make a shift mid-S because you're so loaded through there. And this, of course, is turn 10A, huge overtaking.
Yeah, great passing opportunity down here as well. With going through the S's, you're pulling a lot of G there too in those left to rights. If you pull the car out of gear, pretty easy to miss a shift when you're flinging the car left to right as well. Not necessarily something you have to deal with in the simulator, but in the real world, every time you change direction, if you pull that car out of a gear and it's sitting in neutral there for that second, it'll pull itself into the wrong gate. Going down the hill, so you got to keep that in mind as well. Piatek through turn 1, that's such a fast corner, and then you see him lifting off here. He's going to let some traffic on through, but he's currently scored 3rd behind Nicholas Rice-Budo. Camden Hibbett also in this group. They're going to reset to go again, and Camden Hibbett's your championship leader by 57 points over Beans Forster, but Morgan Burkhardt has only started 10 races to Camden's 16.
Yeah, and Morgan's not out of it by any stretch at this point. Comes in here 4th in the points, only 14 adrift of Rice Pudding. No, Rice Poo. Oh, behind Nick. But Camden up by 57 right now, as you said, over Beans, who's having really an absolutely fabulous season. And a car that we were noting here during the practice session, Hayden Manis, very different look for Hayden here with a new graphics package on that car. Sort of that multi-hued machine here as he heads up through that wicked fast turn.
I think it's a brick. It's a picture of a brick.
It is. Oh, I love it. That's hilarious. Here's where I'm talking about. Right here, you might do a short shift to keep yourself from having to grab a gear as you come down through here. And the problem here is you decide to try and make a move, and you're a little wide at the turn in because it falls away in the S. Woo! Got away from him right in front of him there. But because that's 105 Dave Brown, who we haven't had with us for a little while, great to see him back. But as you're falling down into those S's right there like that, it is so easy to run a little wide. And right there you can see the commitment. Now he's way up and over. And then that's usually what happens. Either that or you hook that big curb and you get caught in the gravel track behind it. You can see the rotation right there. It just skated him wide of the apex.
Yeah, and as soon as he missed the apex here, it hits this exit curb. You're going to be climbing all over this thing all day long. But then he gets into the gravel, and when he tries to regain grip, look at all the gravel that's out there spraying around like kitty litter. Just not going to get a lot of grip out there. So, yeah, track limits are not really a huge concern here because the track limits are generally concrete walls. But if you go off wide at 5, you'll find yourself in that gravel, and things get tricky fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And then another look here as we watch Camden Hibbett whistling up through turn 5. Now, turn 3 was always one of my favorite corner at this track. And oddly enough, coming from Minnesota, I've driven more laps at Road Atlanta in racing and testing than I have anywhere else. And this is what from a driver's perspective, I'd certainly call it my home track. And man, it's so easy to get it wrong through 5, but you've got to hustle the car so much there. And then what's nice is you can carry a lot more speed into 6 than you think because there's more banking there. And then you can straight line and then grab the brakes, but don't over slow here because you need to be on the throttle hard before you even get to that apex curve because of what lays ahead.
And it is that long back stretch. There's a look from 7 to 8. 8 to 9, and then you can't even see those from turn 10A. That's how long this is. And right before you get to 10A, you have this plunge down the hill. A couple little white stripes across the width of the racetrack there. You can pick one for a braking point, Greg. But from experience, especially with the window banners on these cars, you can't really even see the corner until you're pretty well into the braking zone.
Yeah, and if you keep that shot for just a second, where those white stripes are, the closest to us, if you look just to the right, you'll see the fencing where it kind of, angles in toward the concrete. Well, that you can just see the top of the tunnel that now is an access point to get into the infield. Well, the bottom of that tunnel is where the bottom of the dip used to be when you'd come over turn 9 here, and then you just fall all the way down into the dip and then climb back up. And the amazing thing here is if we're on board with somebody, when they go up and underneath turn 11, if you look at the bottom of the bridge abutment on the right, you will see a painted curb, and that is literally touching the bridge abutment on the right side. And you can just kind of see it there. If you weren't up on that curb when you were coming under 11, you were not fast. It was talk about a major commitment part of the track. I hate that it's gone, but it was wickedly dangerous in real world racing, and it did make this place have another really great overtaking area.
Yeah, this 10A, 10B passing opportunity, this is sort of like the run to the finish at Daytona. Everybody plans their move there, but planning is one thing, executing is another, and this is, again, one of those places where we know the pass is going to happen down there. How it happens, I'm not sure we know, Greg. I mean, that's the real big question is, do you want drivers left? Do you want drivers right? It all depends on how the field is setting up around you. We've seen some real exciting moments, but here's Burkhardt giving way to Dylan Lee, but this is that climb up through 11 that you were talking about. Burkhardt's getting off pace here, but look to the right, and you got to be right up against that curb.
There, you can just see those little splashes, and that's where you had to have your right front tire up on that, almost grazing that concrete abutment right there on those curbs. I mean, it was that much of a commitment to run through there, and just stupid fast as well. That was great. Here's this great run up through 1. You don't there where you start to get the banking. Until you get to that, you just are playing a little bit of pitch and catch. You throw the car in there with the confidence that you're going to get that bite, and that's turn 3. Just eating every bit of that curb, often using the exit curb. As you watch, look at that. watch him come over here now. And then oftentimes you'll get to that exit curb, and that's where you straighten your wheels out and let that curb help you wrap down that hill. Just a really cool place to try.
2 minutes left here in qualifying. It's Burkhardt, Hibbett, Piatek, Rice-Budo, and Dylan Lee, your top 5. And about 23 cars on the field tonight, and one of the cars that it's a little bit further down the order than I think he'd like is Deacon Greenfield. He's posted some pretty good results as of late. Sits ninth in the standings, +3 after Summit Point last time out. And his finishes so far this season trending in the right direction. Every finish since Mid-Ohio on October 6th has been a top 10, with 4 of those being top 5s.
Yeah, no, he's done a really solid job from that sort of transition point, as you mentioned. I think he came out of the gate and probably surprised himself with the fact that he just wasn't quite there, but he seems to be dialing it up a bit. Nice move there by Andrew Wozencroft to get out of the way and let Deacon come through clearly on a flyer there. Nice to see Olivier Piatek back with us as well, obviously. And there's a look at Court, and he's just in his garage, and now he's getting that camera set up for us. Love it.
Yep, and climbs right back behind the wheel. You see the triple screens, triple TVs almost. And just 50 seconds left. He's not going to get another lap completed, so the best he'll start is 18th.
And let's see, as you said, it's Burkhardt on top right now.
Oh, Manis.
Yeah. Oh, Manis off. Boom.
Oof. I think that was a cancellation of a fast lap.
I think
like
so,
cancellation meaning like the way that SpaceX cancels launches.
Well, you mean a sudden, unanticipated disassembly?
Correct.
Yeah, how I pulled that out, I have no clue. I think just because I think it's exactly hilarious. Oh, man. Talk about dancing on the edge through there. That's the number 6, Elliott Burton. Always spectacular. Yeah, he needs a time. He's not going to get it.
Nope.
He'll be right at the back of the pack, but he's got some pace.
Checkered flag here on qualifying. It'll be Burkhardt and Hibbett on the front row, and just like that, it is complete, and we'll head down to the racetrack in just a moment for our first of 2 20-minute back-to-back races. 9 rounds in, or this will be our 9th round of 15 on the season. The championship is really shaping up primarily between Hibbett, Forster, Rice-Budo, and Burkhardt, although Manis isn't too far out of it. And then if you consider Manis not too far out of it, and James Newell's right there. So it's pretty tight within 100 points of the lead,
Yeah, close championship, and as you said, still plenty of racing yet to go, and you do get some drops, and the points as we show them, as we have them right now, include those drops. So that's always going to be factored in. Before we get going here, just want to say a huge thank you to Court and Full Send Sims for, 1, his vision in creating this league, and 2, his immense vision in creating these incredible sims to use as a tool to become a better real-world racer. Thus, practice makes podium. We also need to say a very big thank you to another group that has come on board as of late, Sabelt. They, for over 5 decades, they've been known for quality and innovation through vigorous research and development, and they are visible at the highest level of motorsport from F1 all the way through IMSA and others as well, and they are superb. Also, Farah, who just had their second to the last round of their championship at Homestead. Farah is the Formula Automobile Racing Association, and they provide in many ways the most accessible road racing series for spectators and racers in terms of entry cost and ticket cost. It is extremely minor. Their whole idea is to get people out and have them enjoy a day at the races or a weekend at the races with a highly diverse variety of cars and drivers. Our 2 longest term sponsors, just a huge thank you, of course, to 3P Logistics. They do everything from race car storage, maintenance, repair, transportation, and tailored trackside support. And then Final Turn Motorsports as well. Dyno tuning, Miata tranny builder, driver development, from licensing all the way up to the pro level of racing. And then, of course, Wine Country Motorsports. They have for a long time been the racer's resource for helmets, suits, gloves, shoes, seats, and harnesses. And they're the best customer service in the business. Why, you ask? Well, it's because they answer the phone when their internet friends do not. So that's what's up here, and we are underway with the Faceline.
Yeah, it'll be 2 20-minute races back-to-back, as is typical for this format. Let's run through our starting lineup. We'll kick things off with the front row. It's Morgan Burkhardt, Currently fourth in the championship with just 10 races to Camden Hibbett. The leaders, 16. Hibbett rolls off in second place. And Olivier Piatek and Nicholas Rice-Budo share row number 2. Then Dylan Lee and Hayden Manis will be in row number 3 there in the 5th and 6th spot, followed by James Newell and Beans Forster in 7th and 8th, the 123 and 23 cars respectively. And then rounding out your top 10, Deacon Greenfield and Seth Spolman. Greg, take up row 5.
Yeah, actually, Deacon came alive late in that session, didn't he? Put in a good lap. Starting 11th will be Nate Hippelsbach. Starting in 12th will be Wozy and Wozencroft. Starting in the 13th spot will be Trey Sands. Starting in the 14th spot, William Von Sulkama. Starting in the 15th spot, the 105 and Dave Brown. Starting 16th will be Chip Friedhofer. Starting 17th will be the 125 and Sawyer Richards. Starting 18th will be Cord Schmidt. Starting in the 19th spot, Arif Aziz, and rounding out the top 20 will be Charles Vaccaro. 21st will be Wade Buttermore and Elliot Burton with no top starting in 22nd.
Yeah, Carson Neal I have on the scoring. I don't know if he has joined the pace lap. He has not, so it'll be a 22-car grid to start race number 1 tonight. Field heads up the back straightaway, and this is a nice long pace lap. Get your tires and brakes warmed up and ready to go to battle. Morgan Burkhardt and Camden Hibbett, teammates on the front row, but teammates in row 2 as well. Greg, how's that going to play into our race here tonight with this long backstretch?
Well, obviously, you would think it, obviously the teammates look at each other and say, all right, if I can help the guy who's farther up in the points, I'll do what I can. But we know that Hibbett and Burkhardt, when it comes to a certain point, it doesn't matter. The gloves come off and they just go hardcore racing. Olivier Piatek, he's back now in 14th in the points, but he's had a couple of wins on the season. He's been fast. Just hasn't been able to run that many races, only 8. So obviously he would like to get the win here, but you'd like to think that maybe he would help out Nicholas if he can here. The answers to those questions are about to unfold. Pole sitter Morgan Burkhardt to maintain 40 miles per hour until that green flag flies, and it does. We are racing at Road Atlanta, and Burkhardt read that to perfection, rolled into it. You can see Hibbett just a little bit off pace, but now Hibbett has got that wider arc in. He had some good speed, and way down to the inside, that comes Olivier Piatek trying to make things interesting for a lead group, and that kind of forced Hibbett to just suddenly back off and try and find a slot here, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it. He might. Dylan Lee had a remarkable start, too.
Wow, everyone clean through turn 3, down through the S's for the first time. Burkhardt, Piatek, Hibbett, your top 3, then Lee and Rice-Budo. And filtering through turn 5 for the first time. So far, so good. Little dust kicked up there at the exit.
Yeah, and James Newell doing well. Deacon Greenfield up from 9th to 7th, and it's Beans Forster, who was the guy who got shuffled back, qualified in the 8th or the 7th spot. Now he sits in 9th, so he's got work to do as well, and he's one of the championship contenders.
Ooh, Wozy under fire there from Dave Brown in the 105, and it forced Brown to pinch off his exit, and he's going to be under fire now from Friedhofer and Seth Spolman here at the back of the field. So they rocket up this back straightaway. Rocket, of course, being a relative term, about 120 miles an hour VMAX. And we might see maybe a little north of that here with the front runners drafting. But Burkhardt out front. Here comes Piatek.
Yeah, Piatek is going to waste no time. I mean, if he can attack and get after it, I think he's going to here. And look at Burkhardt, though, right from the off, saying, not going to make it easy. And you can do that. You can make work, but you got to have your car just a nose ahead at turn in for 10A to be able to hang on to it at 10B. And Burkhardt fought that off. Absolutely brilliant.
Lap 1 complete. No issues to speak of. Elliot Burton did start from the pit lane, I believe, as Piatek goes back to the inside. A little surprise move up the inside of 1. That's going to bind up both of those drivers and bring in Hibbett and Lee right back into the fray. Yeah,
Piatek, he turned in aggressively. The back end stepped out just a little bit, and it sort of nulled a bit of his momentum up the hill. And so he just had to kind of tuck back in. And meanwhile, Morgan just turned in normally, and that's how he gets that little bit of a gain there. And with Hibbett sitting 3rd, Dylan Lee 4th, Rice-Budo sitting in 5th. Newell having a really good early run, too. Got to be impressed. We've seen some real speed out of him, and here comes Rice-Budo taking a look at Dylan Lee and getting it done down into turn 6. If you're going to make a pass in the turn 6-7 area, you want to do it in 6 because you don't want to be side by side with somebody at the apex of 7. because then you're a sitting duck down at into 10A.
Really impressed with the passes at 6. I mean, as you pointed out in the intro, that 6 is a pretty heavily banked corner for a racetrack. You're carrying a lot of speed, so there's not really a lot of grip or slideability left to be had. If once you're committed to a line, that's the line. And to make a pass down there is a big commitment, so nicely done.
Yeah, really nicely done. Look at this trio up front now getting after it here. And this bit of side-by-side, and again, Burkhardt's going to be able to stay put. Piatek trying to stay around the outside, and look at this. That is Camden Hibbett coming up and trying to just really do a block pass almost on Piatek. Gave him nowhere to go. Wow, was that close? Got it done, but Piatek wants to come back at him. Can't quite get there yet.
Yeah, he split the difference there between those two with not a lot of margin left. And a little wide there at the apex, and you got to be careful, because if you run wide at 1, you're not going to stop till you hit the tires.
Yeah, and it's once you drop your lefts there, really tough to just ride it out. Usually something's going to hook, and you're going to go for a little bit of an interesting ride, so we'll see what happens. But those three playing around brought Rice Budo right back into it. And now there's a little bit of gap from Rice Budo in 4th in the green 03. Back to the number 2, Ali, and a big spin by Nate Himmelsbach there. Avoided hitting anything. That's a good thing.
Yeah, got it bound up, but he just took a bad bounce right here. So he kind of swing the car in there a little aggressively and just got behind the steering.
Yeah, when you clip that inside curve for whatever reason, as you get down into the S's there, it just unsettles the car. Here comes Means now, trying to make a double pass on both Manis and Newell. See if he's going to be able to pull that one off.
All the while.
And still working on it. Meanwhile, look at this. 3 abreast down into 10A. Early in the going here. Well, I think we've got our answer as to, are they just going to be racing, or are we going to be playing games here? And they're just racing at this stage.
Yeah, I love this racetrack with this series. It's always put on some of the best action that we've seen so far, and that run into 10A, you can get so aggressive. You have so much straightaway, and the back and forth nature of it means if you commit to one line, it doesn't mean you're automatically going to lose the spot on the exit. You have got a couple chances to fight, so it just makes for a really interesting race. Here's Deacon Greenfield and Hayden Manis fighting for 8th. Greenfield up 1 spot, but now pushed back down with Manis advancing to 8th.
Yeah, ooh, and a touch there with Trace Hands. Trace had a really good run, thought he had an opening, tried to check up, and it still just got into the back of Deacon just a little bit here. And then it's William Van Silkama doing another nice job here just outside of the top 10 as we have a look at Deacon in the office up from turn 5.
I had to grip onto that wheel pretty fiercely, because that's a wild ride over the rumble strips there at the exit of 5. Here comes Burkhardt again for the lead, but this is just a battle that'll brew every single time we head down this back stretch.
Absolutely, and oh, you can see Morgan. I thought he was going to run a little wide there and did a nice job, and did it without sacrificing a whole lot of exit speed here. But the guy who might be in the catbird seat here with a nice run is Rice Budo. He's coming up on the back of Camden here. And now here we go. Morgan thinking about the outside, going to try and make that work, and he's going to clear him maybe before he gets down there. And then, yeah, Olivier, you've seen him be pretty dynamite on the brakes, so he went in pretty deep. Boy, this is shades of a couple laps ago, except for the fact that Hibbett this time decides to go for the whole shebang. 3 abreast at the apex of a 12? Are you kidding me?
And they did it.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I thought we were going to try 4 there with Rice Budo coming into the fray, but that wasn't going to work.
Too.
Oh, man. Whoop, little stack up there. That caused Hibbett to have to lift, and it brings Rice Budo to driver's left.
Yeah, and you can see how much the angle opened up as Piatek tried to open that angle up going into turn 1. But Morgan, just a master of position. And when I say track position, often we're talking about whether you're 3rd or 2nd, but I'm talking about where you're putting the car on the track. And he just exits turn 3 and has the lead. It's amazing what he does, but all of that playing around has pretty much brought everybody into it here.
Look how close this was right there between these two. Coming up over the top of 5 and almost tangling there between the 0-3 and the 2. But Dylan Lee, you're right back into the mix. This is fun already. We're not even halfway through this race, and they're throwing haymakers at each other.
it's absolutely a blast here. And here we go, side by each again as they start this long run here. Morgan this time protects on the inside a little bit. Let's see what Piatek does. Does he have enough ahead here to throw the squeeze on? Yeah, he shifts over a little bit, trying to pinch Morgan. Now opens it up, lets Morgan go. You almost wonder if that's not thinking about, well, if I've got to do the outside in move, I need to practice that, get a feel for it. Look at this. Well, they saw the lead group do it, so they figured, let's give it a try. And that didn't work so well. Newell, that was a big save.
Nicely done there. But back for the lead. Here comes Piatek again to the inside. Burkhardt tucks in. Battles everywhere inside the top 10 right now. And they're, again, Forrester and Manis. Manis is clawing its way back forward after an initial drop down the order early on. And for the lead again, they're side by side at 3. And Piatek's in the dirt.
And they just check up, let him come back on safely, which is the right thing to do, I think. But, you know, the attack's going to be coming in a big hurry as we look back at Mr. Aggressive Morgan Burkhardt here. Yeah, and I was going to ask you, Kyle, from what I see for track temp, it's up into the 90s. And, you know, this long duration, fast stuff in these corners here, a lot of them. Are they hurting their tires a little bit going this hard this early?
Yeah, especially when they're landing and kind of sliding across the surface there as Hibbett goes for a lunge at 7. You're not going to wear them out. Again, these are pretty short duration races, but you are going to definitely heat them up a lot. And that spike heating when you slide around, it has been something iRacing's played with in recent builds that make the kind of the flash heating when you slide a tire a little bit less you know, of a detriment to the tire's health, but it is still a consideration. Saw Piatek give up a little time there. That was for a slowdown from cutting the S's there last time up the hill, but he's gotten it rebounded, and here comes Lee into the fray. 5 cars on top of each other, and Bean's way late on the brakes into 10.
Wow, yeah, that was, I think he realized if I don't make an adjustment, I'm gonna get right into the back of Piatek, so he did a nice save on it. But yeah, look at Burkhardt now. He's got through there really quickly because Rasputo and Hibbett were leaning on each other, and suddenly Burkhardt's got a second margin, and watch him hustle it into 1 now.
And he will likely not give that back, so everyone else is going to have to go get that position themselves. Look at this mess headed up to turn 3. They'll have to sort this out.
Goodness.
3 wide into 3. That math never works out, and they got it sorted.
And the two teammates leaning on each other here too. Rasputo and Piatek. Piatek getting the better of that. Yeah,
trouble.
Trace Hance and Deacon getting together. They've had a couple of touches in this one.
Yeah, saw that kind of formulating there as they were coming down the hill and just got wadded up together. We'll go back a little further to catch the start of it, but they were just sort of, you see Deacon get overlap here about halfway and just doesn't quite have enough room.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When you get that curve right there, it just spits you back out. And if somebody's alongside you, it's inevitably going to be contact. And contact down there, Kyle, as you well know, never ends well.
It does not. That was concrete to the passenger side at about 50-mile-an-hour delta to the wall, so no fun.
I was announcing a Petit Le Mans race there once and saw Paul Newman spear off into the wall like that and thought, oh no. You know, because it's vicious. Because that is unbelievably fast down in that section of racetrack. Even in a car like this. But right now, Burkhardt has that margin up to 1.2 seconds. He's going for the break here. He wants to just break this field, and he can do it.
Yeah, very quickly this turned into a recovery operation. They might have to fly in the Coast Guard to get this back, but Burkhardt, 1.2 second lead, and Hibbett is struggling with his internet as well, which is going to not help Piatek trust the draft when that car is kind of phasing in and out. And when the car leaves and when it visually disappears, it also takes the draft with it. So it kind of impacts the drafting ability of the cars as well.
Ooh, did you see the car wiggling, tank slapping for Hibbett there as he's trying to do everything he could to come up through turn 5, carry that amount of speed here. And he's trimmed about a tenth back, but this is where these two really need to work together here. try and do anything they can to get back up to Burkhardt, because we're under 8, well, we're almost coming up on 7 to go. This has flown by, and it's because it's been such compelling battling everywhere, really.
Yeah, battles all inside the top 10, but the next 7 minutes, I think they're going to spend a lot of their time just clawing their way back. They're under 1 second now, and you see Hibbett's not going to contest this. They know the deal.
Yep.
If they want a chance to win this race, they have to work together a little bit.
Look at Piatek, who's all of that entry curve on the right side into the left-hand turn 10 to just try and keep every ounce of speed he can at that turn-in points. We hop on board with Camden. It's a little higher than his average rate. Let's see, is he going to go over the pass, or is he just going to give it a shove here?
Just a shove, and I think we typically see Camden's heart rate higher when he's like in chase mode. Whoa, slip for Piatek. I don't know if they got hooked together or what, but
yeah, that was weird.
It's going to cost him a lot of time.
And I was reading Camden's lips, and he would, oh, sorry, bud. And then he just had that. That was cool to see him make that save on his onboard.
They're getting a little sloppy, though, on the run down the S's, and they just don't have time for this if they want to keep up with Burkhardt. He's driving very, very well. They were 0.3 quicker, at least Piatek was, than Burkhardt last time around, but they need to do that basically for the rest of the race.
To be clean about it. Yeah, that's, like you said, getting a bit sloppy here. Newell and Manis side by each here as we come whistling up into turn 7. Manis with the inside line.
Whoop. Little hip check there, and it brings Beans in. We haven't really heard from Beans a lot tonight, have we?
No. He put together a string of races with some great qualifying, and then this one he just kind of missed it a little bit again. And now he's got to make a big leap here. He's sitting in the 8th spot right now. He's going to try and go around the outside of both of these guys here. And we were speculating before we got on the air, is this new graphics thing on Hayden's car a brick?
Well, it must be, although,
Sure looks like it.
We can argue the aerodynamics of the NC generation MX-5 Miata all day long. I think I'd hesitate to call it a brick, but
I would agree, yes.
Again, for Beans, I'm a little bit surprised, not only in the qualifying effort, but just the racecraft. He just hasn't had the pace to carve his way forward. It's a big deal because he's second in the standings right now. He needs every point he can get, and this is where championships are won and lost, right? I mean, he hasn't had a whole lot of bad days this year, but, mediocre days won't win you a championship, not against Burkhardt and Hibbett.
No, not at all. And I mean, right now, Hibbett's sitting in 3rd. That just stems the flow a little bit of points. He'd sure like to be a lot closer to Hibbett at this point. Boy, Piatek just really throwing that car through turn 5 and hustling big time. They've knocked another 1/4 of a second off of Burkhardt's lead. It's down to under 3/4 of a second here, but Piatek has done that on his own because of what we've been talking about with Camden being unusually untidy. Has dropped a little bit of ground.
Yeah, and I wanted to point out on the nose of this 62, and the camera changes over, he's made up this ground despite that damage on the nose. We've seen in the past that a little bit of damage in the front will severely reduce the top speed of these cars. So despite that issue, Piatek is still hunting down Burkhardt. Was 2.5 quicker last time, and this lap was a big gain.
Oh, huge gain. He's now in the draft. He's there. Boy, what a great couple of laps by Piatek. That last lap was a 138.1 to Hibbett's 38.3. Yeah, it was an absolutely superb run here.
Yeah, 38.1 is the best lap that we've seen anyone run today. It wasn't a clean lap. He had it off track, but that is the best lap. Except for Andrew Wozacroft had a 38.0.
Wow.
That's really fast. That was pretty wild.
Three minutes to go here, which is, what, it'd be 2 laps this time by, you think?
I think you're exactly right. Yeah, 2 laps at the stripe.
This run down through the S is so iconic.
Oh, Burkhardt a little over-aggressive, perhaps. Got a little wide, and here comes Piatek now with a nice run, leaving turn 5, and he'll have a shot into 10A. And as soon as they get side by side, bring Hibbett and Rice Budo right back in.
Oh, you bet. And Lee right now sits 5th with Manis at 6th. There, well, Manis makes that move now, makes the liar up, and he takes 5th.
Well, contact there as they traded spots.
Yeah, that lead group of 4 is pretty much all together here at this stage. As is this group of 4.
I kind of expect that group of 4 to be this group of 4 next race too. So if you can cling to that like Dylan Lee was for a while, you'll find yourself with a pretty solid result here. But this will be 2 laps to go at the stripe, just about. And again, it's possible we could get the white, but I think they're just going to make it 2 to go.
All right, down through 12, big commitment here.
About 5 to 6 seconds off from being white flags. So this will be 2 laps left.
Good.
And 4 cars in this fight.
But I'll tell you, after Newell having run a really good race, Manis, Lee, and Forster have just sort of pushed him back a little bit. Race put a little bit wide through the exit of 1.
Andrew Wozencroft having a really nice race for 9th. He's got
Yeah, he sure is.
William Venzel Kemma in 10th. Both of them a little bit wide there, leaving 3. But kind of amongst themselves, they'll probably sort this 9th position out just between them 2.
William, that's what I was talking about. As you start falling down into the S's, if you're not up and got yourself turned into that apex, the track falls away, and it's really tough to get back to the apex. And it's so easy as a result, you just run out of track at the bottom.
I don't want to jinx this, Greg, but we've only had 1 crash that I can count.
Yeah.
That was Trace Hance and Deacon
exactly.
Greenfield. But there still is a lap and a half left to go, and these 4 drivers are fighting for this harder than the Roman Empire. So this is going to be pretty fun to watch on this last 2.5 miles.
So is this going to be one of those moments where somebody tries something to see what they can do?
Yep.
Well, here goes Piatek. Oh, he was super deep on the brakes, but got it wound down. But now Burkhardt, this is where if you can do what Morgan just did there, you pinch the other guy to the inside. Now you've nulled their apex speed, and you can stay around the outside here. Now it's a matter of who does. Well, it's going to be decided for Camden because Rasputo opted to go. Ooh, look at Piatek wanting to open up that entry, and he almost shoved Burkhardt off the track. Side by side up the hill into 3, Kyle.
This precision is just unreal. I don't think they touched each other there at turn 1, and I don't think they're going to do it at turn 3 as well. It's so hard to do. They're going to go side by side down the S's on the last lap of the race. 2 from one team, 2 from the other.
Yeah, Morgan, you saw what he did there. He knew, I cannot wait here. Ooh! Hit that curb, though, really hard. Got him unloaded. Car started to pogo, and here comes Camden Hibbett. But Morgan, as they tipped into the S's there, he realized, I can't do this from here. I'm gonna go right off track. And he just eased off a little bit, got the nose to bike, turned in behind Piatek. But here we go.
Yeah, Piatek might be a sitting duck here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think his only hope is to protect inside and then exit 10-8 wide.
This gap is coming down very quickly. He's going to defend here. Here comes Morgan Burkhardt, the run to the checkers at 10-8, Greg. Here they come down the hill for the last time.
All right, and who's going to get it done? Morgan's got the nose ahead. Does Piatek go straight to the apex? He does. Does he get it parked? He does. He keeps it on track. Morgan comes up, gives him a big rub, but doesn't turn him or get him into a big enough slide, and Piatek should be okay to the line. Here we go. It is Piatek by virtually nothing over Burkhardt. Hibbett, Rasputo, your top 4 covered by the proverbial blanket here. What was it, 77 1,000s?
Wow, that was really close.
Man, was that fun.
And I'm not sure if you caught it, Greg, but they were really close to disaster coming out of 10B. Let's go back.
Weren't they?
Let's go back a little ways here.
Yeah, Morgan got his bumper.
Yeah, here it is again. Watch, he's going to try to protect to the right here, and he's going to kind of keep Burkhardt from getting underneath right there, tags them. Yeah. Oh, that was close.
That was so close. Great save by Olivier.
Yeah, this is just perfect setup here, and just carved it as tight as he needed to. Bouncing off these curbs, and how you bounce kind of determines your run off the corner.
That's pretty much it, exactly.
Right there, quick hands to catch that.
See the opposite lock there for Piatek.
Wow, nicely done.
Yeah. That was great.
And very
well, you knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morgan wasn't going to go quiet, was he?
No, he was not. I was going to show you results, but we ran out of time there with the with everyone on the lead lap and everyone running in pretty good position. He didn't get a lot of time to look at the results, but again,
No.
Piatek picks up the race 1 win, Greg.
Yeah, just a great run. I mean, he was aggressive, was clean, and then that big save when Morgan got him coming out of 10B, and was able to get that opposite lock and keep that positioning. So great stuff. And a bit earlier, we saw Court as he got up to go and get the camera ready to give us those great shots of him working in the shop. Well, let's learn a little bit more about what comes out of this shop and the message behind it.
Simulation will never replace real-world racing, and I don't want it to.
Full Send Sims provides custom-built, top-notch simulators from whatever your budget is. We want to find the best fit for you.
We build rigs for pro drivers where we go and measure their cars, every measurement one-to-one down to the millimeter. You can drive these sims and certify basically to race a car in the real world. Matter of fact, this weekend we have 2 guys that work with FSS that have strictly been sim racing for the last 5 years.
Absolutely did not think a year ago I'd be driving a race car this weekend. However, getting into the simulator, I think it really helped me get on the track and stay competitive.
I've been a sim racing instructor for about 2 years now. The benefit of working with me as a race coach, I'll get you to be a better driver, a lot faster, with a lot less mistakes than you could doing it on your own.
We take the sim building and the sim training as serious as possible. It's not a video game, it's a training tool.
Full Send Sims will offer fully custom-built rigs and delivered and installed into your own home and constant online service. What we offer is world-class, top-notch racing built by a community of racers who enjoy passionate, clean racing.
And I think really one of the important points to make out about what value a sim brings is think about how much it would cost to load up your car into your trailer, go to a road Atlanta, rent it for the day, and that is an extraordinary cost in and of itself. Lodging for the trip up, all of those things. Or you can get your coach, who might be on the other side of the country, log in with your sims and get a great training session right from the seat of your house and learn what you need to learn about the track. Obviously, when you get to the track, you're going to have to dial things in. But, that's one of, to me, the great value points is it brings the cost down of learning to be a better driver.
Yeah, I've had this experience myself. The first ever track I drove on in the real world was Road America in the rain, nonetheless, in a spec Miata. And I had a chance to drive, a whole bunch of Miatas in iRacing and tons and tons of laps at Road America. So when I went there for the first time, it wasn't necessarily that I knew everything I was doing or knew how everything would feel, but I knew what everything would look like. I knew what everything would sound like. I knew where the corner stations were. I knew where the pit lane was. I knew which way the track went. All those things really shortened my learning curve so I could focus less on where I'm going and what I'm doing and more on, getting comfortable in the race car. So, I think that's my personal success story with simulators. I think there's a lot to be learned, especially when you've got hardware like what Court can put together with Full Send Sims, and you can really replicate the car that you're in and make it as true of a change from the sim to the real world.
It also helps with announcers. What I got to tell this is back before the level of sim and everything that we have today, back when it was a lot more simplistic. When you had the steering wheel, you'd bolt to your desk with some cheapy pedals. But I had the opportunity, when I was given my first opportunity to announce Formula One on TV, and I was going to announce the German Grand Prix at the Hockenheim Ring and the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, and they just made some changes to Silverstone. Not the current one, but they just added some other stuff. And I just loaded up, got my wheel out, and started driving laps at those 2 tracks. It made an immense difference when I got into the booth with Hobbs and Posey to be able to just quickly recognize all the corners and how to work through them and all of that. It's an immense tool. And we use it also as well, don't we, for flagging? There's virtual flagging schools. There's all kinds of things that it really enhances, that training tool aspect.
Yeah, I think one of the things to not overlook also is, iRacing as a product as well. I mean, of course, sims can be set up for a whole variety of simulators, but iRacing in particular was really the group that spearheaded laser scanning. Because before this technology, tracks were represented, but sort of roughly, and you could kind of tell that things weren't quite right or weren't in the right location. They were sort of artistic representations of where you were actually racing. But iRacing in the early 2000s, after their NASCAR license and what was the Papyrus company went away, they spearheaded this laser scanning system where you basically represent tracks as a point cloud, and it's accurate down to the millimeter. And from there, they can build an incredibly accurate representation of the track, every single thing down to the finest detail. And then the visuals, of course, match that. So now, one thing that it could be viewed as a disadvantage is they're sort of locked in time a little bit. This laser scan is circa 2011 here at Road Atlanta. So there's a couple things like the curbs at turn 3 aren't quite right these days. And but again, it'll give you a much better idea of what the track does, where it goes, and how to drive it before you ever even get there.
Yeah, it's they're incredible tools, to be sure. And then when you can have a company like Full Sense Sims that you say, okay, I'm running one of these cars, build me an exact replica of my cockpit, and they'll come out and measure everything in your cockpit to the tension on the shifter and all that kind of. It's ridiculous to give you that absolute feeling. It again, all in hopes of making you a better real world driver. That's the mission of Full Sense Sims, and it's our mission right now to get ready to go with the second race. And if it's anything like that first one, I'm pumped.
Yeah, I think those top 4, Piatek, Burkhardt, Hibbett, Rice, Budo, they put on a really good show. I think Beans Forster, though, starting in 5th, much better starting position this time. He'll have a better opportunity to stay up with the group. I think he could be the wild card in this.
I think you're right. And with Camden finishing 3rd, at one point Beans was 9th, and that still would have been a big point swing. With Beans working his way up into 5th, that really mitigated that just a little bit. And now if he can really put in a drive we know he's capable of here and get up there, this could be really interesting. The guy that I'm going to be keeping an eye on here, obviously, Elliott Burton, who after starting dead last ended up in 16th. I don't know that it was the smoothest runs for him, but I know, we know he's got speed. And I know Andrew did a great job to beat 10th, Wozy, but I think Deacon Greenfield now might be somebody to watch now that he's got that one race under his belt. We'll see how it plays out.
Well, I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is that Elliott Burton is not on the grid right now. The good news is he started from the pits last time, so he might be doing the same thing again this time. So I don't know that he's necessarily out, but didn't make it to the grid for this second race.
You see Kurt Schmidt there. It looks like he's now adopted stealth technology on that car in terms of the graphics.
Yes.
Just matte black, so radar won't find it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point,
opposing drivers won't find it.
I knew he did military simulators. I didn't know he worked on the B-2.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
You're just going to show up with wings on it next time. Exhaust pipes shaped like trapezoids. All right, head down the hill here. One last look at the weather. You mentioned the track temps were in the 90s last time. It took a little while for him to get there, but they're going to start at 91 this time, so even hotter for race 2.
It's going to be interesting to see just how aggressive Camden Hibbett gets here early. We've seen some of the greatest duels ever between himself and Burkhardt. And, he watched what was unfolding up front and wants to be a part of that, especially in terms of this championship here. But here we go. This time it's Olivier Piatek. We maintaining that 40-mile-an-hour speed down the hill. Let's see if Morgan tries to read this a little bit. Piatek, and here we go. And I heard Piatek. He jumped that absolutely perfectly. I shouldn't say jump. He rolled into it absolutely perfectly. But now he's so far down to the inside with Hibbett right behind him. But that worked. You see, and Hibbett got in a little bit deeper. Hibbett now going to try and come up the inside here. That's going to leave that open for Burkhardt when they get to turn 3. Burkhardt's going to try and just pinch him just like that. And Burkhardt's around. But look at Beans wasting no time jumping up. Oh, Friedhofer. Oh, thought he might be able to save that. That's
Nope.
a big whack into that wall.
Yeah, that was concrete too, so that'll be day over for Friedhofer. And it doesn't look like Elliot Burton did take the grid for this one, unfortunately. So
Oh, what a shame.
he will not make race number 2. Down into turn 6 for the first time. Burkhardt quickly separating the Gazelle from the rest of the herd here, and Piatek is lonely out here and has Burkhardt chomping down.
Yeah, I wonder, if the analogy is Piatek is the gazelle and Burkhardt's the cheetah.
Trying to outrun him.
But, exactly. All right, down to the inside.
Whoa.
Well, actually, the outside goes Burkhardt. Technically, the inside goes Piatek. And Hibbett decides who to go with, and he decides, now I want to go for it all. And now, dummy, that was a dummy. He wants to get back into position here and see what he's going to be able to do. Dives down the inside. Piatek just could not get that turn back toward that apex in 10B, and that has allowed Camden to come up the inside. Now Piatek trying to open that arc up, get a better run out of 12. Opening that arc up when the track falls away like that, it's so easy to have the back end pop out. And here we go, Hibbett to the inside of his nemesis. There's a touch.
And Burkhardt's going to go for a ride, and I will not count him out yet, but this is going to bury him down the order. It's going to be a very busy race for Morgan Burkhardt, and he's still trying to gather it back up. Finally got it back in position. Even if Van Selkema's not going to, you see Burkhardt back here, you're not going to just lay over. You're going to try to get in front of him.
You bet you are.
Yeah,
that's an opportunity here. And Deacon Greenfield is the guy who's racing with him right now. But let's watch that again.
Yeah, try to get a different perspective of it, but this was the run into turn 1. Hibbett pops out, and then at the apex, I don't know that was necessarily on Hibbett. They hadn't quite gotten to the apex yet. I wonder if we go back from this angle, if it'll be a more telling story.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Maybe. That's tough.
I think that was, Hibbett, I didn't see Hibbett slide, get sideways or whatever. I think it was just two cars going for that same piece of real estate, just had that touch.
Look who's leading the race, Beans Forster.
Yes,
well,
how about that?
Not for long, though. I think they're going to go 3 wide into 10A. Here we go.
See what Beans is going to do. Turns in, little touch there. He's trying to keep that inside, though. He's got it. Here comes Rice Budo.
Oh, Manis, sideways crash. Big crash. Cars everywhere.
That's the big one. This isn't AMS, guys.
No, and they're still just trying to get off course.
Yeah.
As the local yellows waving there at 11, but we'll go back to that one in a minute because here come the leaders again. Piatek, Forster, Rice, Budo, Hibbett.
Boy, Piatek got those lefts up on that exit curve.
Van Selkema. That's Hibbett off. That's turn 2-3. Big crash for the
oh my goodness.
132. Looks less than pleased.
Yeah, not happy.
How did that happen?
Unbelievable. Let's take a peek here.
Whoa.
Ooh.
This was a multi-car situation. We have to get a different perspective.
Oh, God. So, yeah, let's watch it here. It's pretty good here.
Oh, Hibbett tagged 0-3 and sent him around.
Yep.
Maybe from high up, this will give us this will be a tough angle, but this should give it right there. There's a little hip check
So
there.
There's a touch there with Piatek and Beans, and there it is.
Yep. Wow. That will take out Camden Hibbett, and Morgan Burkhardt's out into the race as well, so that takes out a lot of our front runners. And now it's just Forster, Piatek, 4 seconds back to Newell. Opportunity for everybody else, but race 1 was so nice and tidy, and race 2 the gloves came off.
Boy, didn't it? We've seen that before, but normally we don't have that big of a schmozzle out there, or a carambolage.
Whatever you prefer.
FIA, yeah. But this is a massive opportunity for Beans, who got loosened up there by Piatek right as they were straightening out at the bottom of the hill at 12. Boy, that's a hard to throw moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of racing left. That was the first 6 minutes of a 20-minute race.
I know.
And so it's just these two now. And this is opportunity for Newell and Lee to sort of work together. 4 seconds over 14 minutes is not an insurmountable difference. And even Deacon Greenfield surviving to 5th. You see the rear end of that car all tore up. While we've got a little quiet, let's go back and look at the crash that happened at turn 10B with Wozy.
Yes.
And it didn't start with him. It started up the road. I didn't quite see who had initially gone around. It was Manis that did.
Yeah.
Let's try that again. And he got tagged from Lee, just a big stack up behind the 0-3.
There it is.
And there's where it starts. Yep, and then everyone just kind of piles in. Oh, man, you see Trace Hans had nowhere to go. Burkhardt, oh, that's it. Burkhardt got tangled up in that, too. That was what took him out.
All right.
And then you just see just a junkyard at the top of the hill.
Yep, Smolman involved as well after having a really good first race.
So with all that aside, we'll go back to the battles for third. This is Lee and Newell. They're probably working together. Himmelsbach and Greenfield, I'm not sure if they're working together or fighting each other at the moment, but we'll find out shortly.
Yeah, Nate Himmelsbach right now having a good run. He's had 5 top 10s, but this could be his first top 5 if he can hang on in front of Deacon here as we go on board with Deacon, watching as they make the run down through the very daunting turn number 12 here. And the one thing that I have to just call your attention to, when you're watching these guys come down through turn 12 and you've got that shot we just had, you see how close that big concrete wall is. Now these Miatas are great, but imagine coming down that hill in a high downforce prototype and carrying those kind of speeds, knowing if it gets away from you, it's going to be massive.
Yeah.
And they're doing it in the dark, in the Petite for 10 hours.
In traffic, doing 30 miles an hour slower than you at the minimum corner speed.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So Newell and Lee have gained a bunch of ground on Forster and Piatek. They cut in about 6 to 7 tenths of a second just last lap alone. So that's bad news for Piatek and Forster if they wanted to make this a 2-car race.
Yeah. Speaking of which, assuming that if it is a 2-car race at the end, with Hibbett out, with Burkhardt out, with Rice Puto right now way back in 7th, how aggressive do you think Beans is?
I mean, definitely with those other 2 out, it makes this night a gain for him regardless. So if you look at it that way, you could be a little bit more aggressive. I wouldn't do anything that would that would throw the car in the fence. I wouldn't go that much risk versus reward, but certainly I'd take a risky move if it means losing a spot or 3, because he's going to gain ground on the points leader tonight.
Yeah, and that was my point was, do you risk throwing it all away to go for the win, or do you go, I'll try something, if it doesn't work, then I'm third, I'm still gaining those points. So I think this is going to be a really fun battle here. I mean, Himmelsbach obviously well motivated here to go after his first top 5.
Yeah, so
Deacon would like to add to that tally.
Let's go back. This is the start of the race, and the first 10 minutes of this were pretty thrilling. Clean, nice, tidy start. That's how it all began. But very quickly, things started to get out of hand a little bit later. This was the next time around, coming to lap number 2. This is Morgan Burkhardt over Camden Hibbett. Hibbett goes to the inside here, and as they turn in, it tangles up Burkhardt and sends him around. He catches it, comes out down the order, but then this happens at turn 10B, and Burkhardt gets collected and wipes him out.
Right there,
And then a couple laps later, this happens at the top of the hill. This is turn 3. Camden Hibbett and the 0-3 get tangled up and sends him into the wall hard. And that was the first 10 minutes of the race. A lot of carnage.
A lot of carnage. And some absolutely key players in the points, too.
Yeah. And with that, you should note that time, Lee and Newell lost a whole bunch of ground. So what they gained, they lost that plus some this time around.
The question I have is Rice Puto going to be able to get up to the Himmelsbach-Greenfield battle here? Because this is a points opportunity for him, too. He sits 3rd right now.
Whew.
Ooh, that's dancing on the edge there.
Reef Aziz and Court Schmidt going to battle. This is for 9th.
tell you, one of the great things about turn 1, I had a driver instructor many years ago who made the comment about, he said, if you're going through a turn and the car feels really planted and solid and secure, you're not going fast enough. And you watch these guys through turn 1 and you see that car just dancing. So that's what I was talking about at the beginning, of being able to dance on the court. Oh, what a save.
That was close.
What? Yes, it was.
Oof, nice save. That was a great job, even on the gravel. So he'll hang on to 10th.
Let Vesselkama get through on him.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, these are the kinds of cars that you're going to steer with the throttle. Again, it's not necessarily because you're going to be powering out and sliding the rear on throttle, but
Right.
you're trail braking and just making sure the car is on the limit of the friction circle everywhere is really important.
Exactly.
Oops, Rice-Sputo back on Greenfield here. See, that car is pretty tore up, but he can just rally for a podium or even just a top 5. It would certainly benefit him. He was behind Forster in the points. And with Forster,
Where's Beans?
Beans is down in 17th.
What happened with him?
Yeah, why is he in 17th? Great question.
They were batting. He's sitting in a pit lane here.
Yeah, this was, oh, you're right. He was battling with Piatek and just disappeared off the timing. Let's see what happened to him. Let's see. This was coming up the hill. Wonder if it was out of 5, maybe. No, not there. Oh, it was 6. That's weird. Oh, bad downshift, Greg.
Yep, blew the motor. What a golden opportunity. Gone for Beans. Listen here.
Well, you can just watch the RPM. It'll tell the story. Yeah, 71.20, and it stopped reporting the RPM past red line, so.
Yeah.
Bam.
He is going to be absolutely gutted after having that great run. So right now, Piatek has nobody in front of him up the road.
Yeah, and he's running lap times that are still quicker than Newell and Lee, so he's going to be out there just putting in practice laps here for about 7 minutes. He's got to stay on it, though, because Newell and Lee are going to do everything in their power to catch back up. Also, there's a 3-car battle for 4th, Himmelsbach, Rice-Sputo, and Greenfield.
Yeah, Greenfield leading on the back bumper there. Rice-Sputo, and Himmelsbach going to dive up the inside. Well, I'll tell you, I am really impressed with the drive that Nate's putting in this race.
Yeah, he's doing a nice job. Started this race in 14th and clawed his way up to 6th. Now, also doesn't have a scratch on this car, which is saying something because it's been a little messy out there just with that big crash at 10B and then the tangles with the leaders. Ooh, almost put a scratch on it there with Greenfield at 1, but missed it.
Just a note here, Reef is going for his first ever top 10, sitting in 8th right now.
Wow.
So doing a really fine job.
Well, he's just lost 2 spots there. 1 to Vanselkemba, 1 to Schmidt. There's the commentator curse on your Tuesday evening for you.
Of course, just that fast. How about Sawyer Richards doing a nice job too? He's on his way to a potential top first. Yep, first top 10 in the works for Sawyer if he can move up or hang on there, sitting in 7th. So great to see that.
Yeah, nice job there again, starting from 19th, almost last on the grid. And that actually, in this race, was a benefit, just kind of carving through. Going back to the early collision we saw at 10B, go back to what Sawyer Richards was seeing. He was way behind the field, but this is his perspective of that accident. Got to drive through after the smoke clears.
Woo. Yeah, and didn't abate his speed too much, did he? He figured there ought to be a line through there by now, and by golly, there was.
So Piatek leads by 8 seconds. Second place, though, still a battle. Newell and Lee, 3/10 between these two.
Newell doing a really nice job, and we've seen these turns of speed from him before. But a potential second here but he's still got Dylan Lee right there, and that pink and white machine just tracking him.
Yeah, Newell's had actually a really solid season so far. He's only had 2 finishes outside the top 10 and a whole bunch of top 5s. Recently, yeah, this is season 2 here. Yeah, the season opened for him at Watkins Glen, 9th there, then 20th, then 6th, 8th, 8th, 9th, 3rd, 3rd, 8th, 7th, 19th, 7th, 4th, and 5th. So pretty good season all around. But
Absolutely.
with how competitive it's been, he's only tied for 5th in the standings.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's just that close here. The other thing I was
Whoop, I lost you.
yeah, no, that was me pausing.
Thinking, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was trying to work out what exactly. Yeah, okay, Hayden Manis was the other guy as well. So, you know, you hate to see, obviously, some of the front runners have these issues, but it's also nice to see some of the more new drivers to the championship, you know, be able to get their personal bests in. And that just builds their confidence, and that's part and parcel of it as well here. But it's just amazing, and the pace. You know, the other thing I was looking at here is I'm noticing now that Rice Pudo, he's not making any time up on that lead trio at this point. His times are a 10th or 2 off generally of what they're doing at the front.
Yeah.
You know, which is tough, obviously.
It is, and I think a lot of that, this car is pretty battered, beaten, and bruised. It's
I
seen
think so too.
better days. It looks like it's got a bite taken out of the left front. But you know, to your point about the drivers further down the order that don't typically get to run up inside the podium in top 5, you know, it just simply comes down to that age-old adage that everyone is tired of hearing, that to finish first, you must first finish. And,
exactly.
You know, it's no less legitimate of a finish to finish 3rd in a race where there's a lot of carnage than there is without it, right? You didn't get in the crash, everyone else did. So, you know, it's still an earned position regardless of, you know, the number of cars that dropped out. And that is reflected by the points mattering whether you crash or don't. So it'll be a big day for drivers like Lee, Himmelsbach, and Sawyer Richards.
Yeah. Points are points. Doesn't matter how you get there, what speed you have to get there. If you put them together, that you've driven a better race than the others at this stage. So it's like 2 to go here for the flying Olivier Piatek, who was he's the only guy, well, as I say that now, on the last lap, Newell dipped into the 138s, but not anymore. The only guy running 138s right now is Piatek, who was just in that zone we talked about at the top of the show.
Look at the consistency. Best lap, 138.316. Previous lap, 138.331. That is incredible. And to note also, you know, we started our last lap with what, a minute, or we started the 2 to go, I should say, with about 1 minute and 45 seconds left in race 1. It's exactly what he just did. And he's on his own, no draft included. So he's just running incredibly consistent laps, as fast as the leaders were in that first race.
Yeah, doing an absolutely stellar job here. And again, you recall that he's only made, this is essentially his 9th and 10th start here today, while others are making their 17th and 18th start. You do get the drops and everything, but Olivier, if he'd been in the championship at all the rounds, he just seems to be a bit rejuvenated this year in terms of his racecraft. We've never doubted his speed, but his racecraft has really come alive.
Coming up over the crest of turn 11, and this will be the white flag for Olivier Piatek, outlasting the chaos, and he'll just have to make it 2.5 miles and pick up a checkered flag.
There it is. 1 to go, and look at that lead he has. 10 seconds back to Newell. Look at these two still going at it for a top 5 here. Deacon's got it, but look at that move by Himmelsbach up the inside.
Yeah, far from done between these two, and we're going to have a battle for second as well, because Newell and Lee are only a 10th apart.
Well, look at this. You're absolutely right. And I think Deacon had a great exit. Ooh, bit wide there, but and Lee a little bit too fast there at the back end, skated on him a bit. They are absolutely on the edge, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it's going to cost Dylan Lee an opportunity into 6. I think he'll have maybe one more good run into 10A, but he gave up a lot of time there. But 11 seconds clear of the field. Olivier Piatek is making a statement with this one. Just dispatched everyone else. His car pretty free and clear of any scratches or damage. And again, he's the last one left of that front 4 we saw in race 1.
Yeah, this is the clinic we've talked about on occasion here. He's just driven a great race. Last time through 10A, 10B. Here's a look as he comes up and under the bridge at 11. And
oh, well.
Down the hill through 12.
And picks up a checkered. I think he would have liked it to have been as exciting as the first race. But here comes Newell.
For sure.
Over the top at 12, and Lee looks like he'll stay P3.
Nice job by Newell and Lee, and then Bryce Puto. Here comes Court. Big lunge, is going to keep it on track. He does. That was on Vaccaro, who's having a great run. And Himmelsbach hangs on for that first top 5, by the way. Just wanted to mention that. Court sneaks through and grabs that 9th spot.
Nicely done.
Absolutely.
And Piatek brings home not only the race 2 win, but also the race 1 wins. That was a sweep for him for this round.
Yeah, that's his 3rd and 4th wins of the season.
With that, let's have a look at your race results here for race number 2. Job well done for Piatek, Newell, Lee, Bryce Puto, Himmelsbach, as you pointed out, with that top 5.
And then Deacon Greenfield, the Fighting 6. Sawyer Richards up in his first ever top 10. William Von Slokama in the 8th spot. Court Schmidt up into 9th. And Charles Vaccaro up into the 10th spot. Great job by Vaccaro.
And then looking down the rest of the order here, this is Arif Aziz 11th, Dave Brown 12th, Seth Spolman, Buttermore, Forster. This is where the disaster cars started. Forster, of course, with that engine downshift that put him down the order to P15. Wozy, Friedhofer, handful of others caught up in collisions. Camden Hibbett, Hans Manis, and a whole bunch of others, including Morgan Burkhardt, wrapped up in collisions and just did not get the results they were hoping for.
That was a classic, with Morgan, too. We talk about it all the time. When you're running in the middle of the pack, just the likelihood of something big happening on the negative side goes up. And when he got wide, came out mid-pack, and just got caught up in that accident. And that's the price you can pay sometimes for having one of those moments out there. So, but wow, that first race was absolutely epic. This one had some great fights early, but then it was all Piatek at the end.
Well, let's have a chat with Camden Hibbett, 3rd in race number 1, 18th in race number 2. Camden, we just kind of watched you post collision there, just sitting there and almost in disbelief that it was over within the first 6 minutes of the race. Take us through your night. It was a high and then a low.
Yeah, I mean, stupid mistake. Very disappointed with myself, I guess, tonight. Really sorry for Nick, and I really don't know what happened, to be honest with you. I think the contact in turn 1, I could go either way. I mean, that was with Morgan. Kind of a racing deal. We had such light contact, and I was pretty well on the curb, I thought, but I don't know. I could go either way with that one, and the 1 and 3 just yeah, that was bad. So I apologize to Nick. I really don't know what happened. I knew I was a little bit late on turn in. When I put wheel in the car, there was nothing there. So it sucks, right? My pace was not there tonight. I let Oliver go in race 1 because I wasn't catching Morgan. I was able to hold pace with him, but I just couldn't keep with him. So yeah, I don't know, frustrating night for me. I think definitely some stuff to work on as we move forward. I thought this was going to be kind of a rebound weekend. and kind of boost the momentum. This is one of my favorite tracks, and always tend to perform pretty well here. But not the case tonight. Definitely a rough event, and yeah, we'll move on to next week, I suppose, and take these lessons learned and move on.
Well, I'm glad that you put it that way, because one of my wife's favorite sayings, and I love it too, is sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And you get out there and no matter how good you are in a race car, you always, there's always something new that comes up, and you're gonna figure it out, and can't wait to see where you go. Now you got a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, maybe, in terms of I got to get after it here, and we know what you can do when you're motivated. Can't wait to see that unfold.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. That's I would like to think that I'm pretty solid in this series, but I mean, there's so much more to learn. There's so many mistakes that not only tonight that I made, but like in general. So I mean, you're right? Like, there's no, you could be me, Morgan. I mean, you could be, I don't know, Ayrton Senna, right? You're all gonna have learning days. So, yeah, it's frustrating, but I appreciate it. We'll definitely do some studying this week, and hopefully come to round 10 a little bit more prepared, and hopefully back to the performing ways that the 132 is used to. So we'll see you guys next week.
All right, bud. Thanks so much. And
thank you.
You bet. Quickly for Camden, even though he's frustrated, all of the people he's racing the points had a tough second race as well, so that helps mitigate things a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. Again, just it's going to help a little bit, but when you look back on the season later, it's just going to get dropped. And this is, as you said, was an advantage, or a night that he would hoped to really kind of get things back on track, and to lose that opportunity has a cost too. Let's chat with, let's see, who else was on our list here? Was Rice Puto up on the podium, and he just missed it, but Dylan Lee didn't. He was P3 in race number 2. Dylan Lee's with us now. Dylan, podium tonight, really strong result. A lot of chaos in the early stages, and it cleared out, but you and James Newell just got to battle for second from there on out.
Yeah, well, first off, I want to thank my sponsor, Murphy's Law, because anything that was going to go wrong absolutely went wrong in that race. And I think I just kind of lucked into this spot, and I had so many incident points that I was so close to just DQing from the race, so I had to settle behind James instead of, having the occasional off track or something like that trying to get by him. So I was happy to stay in third and just ride, have the season best finish. And I don't know, I was actually really kind of surprised with my pace tonight. Race 1, I was able to keep up with the top guys for most of the race, and I ended up making a mistake and fell back to the second pack, but it is what it is.
Well, you were running really well, and we've seen your pace. We know that what you're capable of out there, and it was really cool to see it all come together here. In terms of the speed in that first race, sticking with that pack, and then and that's really savvy, Dylan. You're up against Newell. You guys are having a great race, but you understand the bigger picture there. Going, look, I could get my season's best. I get a podium tonight if I just don't do something that might knock me out of that in terms of as you said, those incident points. That savvy stuff, and it's so cool to see on the podium. I hope we see a lot more of those for you because you've got the speed.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been noticing that, practice makes podium. You just got to keep going after it and after it. Full plug there. But, I've been kind of trying to hang out in the top 10 at least a little bit. So if I can just work on it a little bit more and see if I can, start working my way up into a consistent top 5, and then who knows, I'll be able to talk to you guys a little bit more.
Well, we would love that.
I would love it too.
Thanks, Dylan.
All right, bud.
All right, let's chat with Olivier Piatek, 2-time race winner tonight. And boy, race 1, pretty spicy, 77 thousandths between you and second place. Olivier, race 2, though, wasn't quite as tight. All the drama happened around you. Take us through your perspective this evening.
Yeah, so race 1 was an absolute blast. Me, Morgan, Camden, everyone involved. It was just a really fun, respectful race. We were just swapping positions the whole time, and that was just really enjoyable. But at one point, Morgan kind of pulled a bit of like a 1-second gap, and coming into race 2, I knew that if you're able to get to the lead, there's a chance that there's going to be carnage around you. You can drop and pull away. And so race 2, I just tried to get to the lead as soon as possible. When I got to the lead, that's exactly what happened. Just they started dropping like flies behind me. And then it was going to be just me and Beans, and I was really excited for that battle. But unfortunately, his motor blew up, so I got kind of gifted a free win there.
Yeah, and a hell of a margin of victory. Just
Yep.
for regardless of how you get it, being able to say 11.4 up the road, that's not too bad. In that first race, though, on that last lap, you had to make and you did a brilliant save when Morgan just tapped you coming out of 10B and loosened you up a little bit. And not only did you make the save, but then when you finished making the save, your car was right where it needed to be. That was a great piece of driving.
Thank you. Like, I knew coming into the apex of the corner, I needed to get myself clear, otherwise I was getting trained, and I just broke super late to clear myself, and I knew I cleared myself, so I just parked the bus and I stopped the car in the apex and let Morgan hit me, because otherwise I'm going to get crossed over. So I let him hit me, and I knew it was going to come, so I was able to save it very easily, and then just kind of clear sailing to the line there, because I killed his run.
So you pulled a little bit of a Morgan on him.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, well played.
We learned from each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've just been delighted this season. One, obviously, I think this, now 4 wins, and we've always known your speed, but just watching your racecraft now, I've really enjoyed it, and to see you running at the sharp end all the time, it's just been great, man. Well done, and a couple of great races tonight.
Thank you, sir. It was a really fun race.
Good.
Thanks, Olivier. Have a good night.
Yeah, me too.
All right, with that, Greg, that's going to wrap up the interviews tonight. Boy, sweeping the round for Olivier Piatek. Not a lot of competition in that second race by virtue of that collision up at the front and the one that happened at 10B. But Road Atlanta, this is a fierce racetrack. We saw it claim more in car-to-car contact than car-to-track contact, but maybe things will change. Next week we head to Homestead Miami Speedway, a little more open space out there.
Yeah, and running road course B, which means not using the second half of the infield, and so using the banking in turns 3 and 4, which with these cars, the drafting is going to be epic, and it always produces some fabulous racing. And I just want to remind everybody that if you need a little bit of extra time at Homestead Miami Road Course B, tomorrow night is the Racecraft Academy for Homestead Miami. So make sure you want a little extra time, check that out and get after it, and you're gonna reap the rewards there. Then our next stop will be Barber. Can't wait for that. Circuit of the Americas, but on the West Course, Sebring International Raceway, the full course, Chicago Street Course, and recently announced Mount Panorama in Bathurst for the season finale here, and can't wait for that either. With that, just want to say a big thank you once again to Full Send Sims, to Sabelt, and to Farah, and to 3P Logistics, and to Final Turn Motorsports, and of course to Wine Country as well for all their support as we are sitting
You can wrap.
in season of 2025. Once again, thanks for joining us here at the brilliant Road Atlanta. We look forward to seeing you next Tuesday night as we head in to should be a fun event at Homestead Miami Speedway. For Finney and DeCuna doing a great job with the cameras again, and of course Kyle Heyer, I'm Greg Freeman.